Hello class, this is Mr. Tweed here again, just following up with the first floor plan for our CAD assignment. In the previous video I had drawn all the walls and doors and things of that nature. And in this one I'm doing mostly notations. Now I did mention one of the other things I did not draw was the hatch patterns, because I'm going to wait to do the hatch patterns at the end. That's pretty easy to do though, so you should be able to figure that out yourself. And you can really start putting the notes, putting the dimensions in any order you want, but just because this is a video and it's for learning, I think I'm going to start with the window and door tags. The reason for that is, just in case you haven't thought of it, well, we already created window and door tags right over here, and there's no reason why we just can't copy these symbols over and reuse them. So my door tag is this sort of hexagon one, and as long as you did it in the last assignment, you can just start your copy command, select a base point there, and move it right over here. Now if you didn't do it in the previous assignment and you need to do it for this, well then you'll just have to go back to that video and look how to do it. Now I notice they've actually changed the door tag somewhat, which is sort of strange, but that's the way these drawings are. They changed it between this assignment and the last assignment, so I am going to have to edit this one a little bit. I'll start with a line that goes across. Now you want to be careful because I'm on my medium line weight, which is blue, but this was drawn on my text line weight, which is also blue in this case. They look very similar, so I'm just going to match properties to make sure that I got everything on the text layer there. But then I'll draw that line and I'll move my one number up, which in this case of course is 2 here, and then I'll copy CO is the shortcut I've been using there. Copy this 2 down and make it 36 inches. Now if I was really spending a lot of time on this, we can see it made it off center there. I could have made a piece of text that was center justified if I want to, but really pretty much most of the text is going to be the same inches, or just meaning not same inches but the same 2 units of numbers. So I'll just sort of take the simplification there and move it along. There's a couple other doors in here. Now that this is all together, I can copy and move this one into here. This one will be 7. And the number will reference a number on a door schedule, which will give a lot more information about this door. I imagine we'll get to later in the semester. Copy this guy, move it over here. This guy is number 6. And so keep doing this. The reality is, the notes, this door is number 8. Doing the notes is identical to doing them on the last assignment. So, if you know how to do them, you might as well just go ahead and do them and not necessarily watch me. I obviously I'll keep recording because I need to do it, and I need to get this drawing made so I can check everyone's against it and see if there's any issues along the way, things of that nature. So I will keep doing it, but these 2 doors are actually 36 inches, so I'll adjust that. But yeah, go ahead and just do your notes. You might want to skip maybe to the end of the video to see. Don't forget there's the page 2 of the instructions has a bunch of notes that are not on the page that you still need to put in there, and if you want to see how best to put those in, maybe you'll jump ahead in the video. I'll do those last after all the dimensions and things are in there, so I know where it's best to put them. This door is 24 inches, and the 10 I'll just have to recenter. It's a double-digit number there. Let's see, there's this door is here. Might as well grab a 30-inch door for the next one because it's also 30 inches. Just save me a little bit of time. I could have copied the door number right there. I just would have had to change more notes. So that's why I scrolled down to copy a different door. This one is door 3 and 72 inches. And I think that's all the doors. Possibly I forgot one. I can always go back and do it. But I'm going to do the same thing for windows. So here's our window tag. It's a circle with the numbers in it. I'll copy that. bring it over here, place it inside. So this one is, oops, I gotta put my cap locks on. Do the F1, 36 inches. And that's the same all the way across. So I'm just going to keep copying this all the way across to this side as well. I'll copy this again to here. This is F2 and it's only 24 inches. But of course it's the same here as well. Oh, you know what? The garage doors. Can't forget about those. Almost forgot about those. Let me just copy one of these door tags. Put it right here. This is 5. Door 5 and 108 inches. And since that is an extra number, I'm going to have to recenter that. Right there. Copy this tag right over to that spot. Not a problem. It's a great thing about AutoCAD, so easy to edit. A couple other windows up top. This one is F3 and 36 inches. And it is copied 3 times. And above the sink, I have F4. It's 48 inches. Now, I think normally I would probably try to put this on the maybe the outside of the window to give it some room, but I think because in our viewport this top area is so squished, they've sort of put it on the inside here. It makes it a little bit more difficult to read, but at least it all fits on the page, so I'll go along with that also. Same with this one. Now you can Alright, so I think that's all the door and window tags. Again, if I miss something, I can always go back. Not a big problem. I'll save it, just a good stopping point. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through and do all the dimensions exactly like I did last time. I can start wherever I want, just add them up, verify that they are matching what they're supposed to be as a second check. I'm going to start by switching to the dimension layer. And just so I can have more options in my dimensioning, I'll go to my dimensioning tool block here. My default one I like to start with is just going right to here, and it starts with this big overall dimension from top to bottom. And we'll see, I might need to pull this in again like I did last video. We'll have to see how it fits in the viewport when I get to that stage nearing the end of the video, but start there. That'll be a good place to work from. Now I'm going to do the next level in, so which is from here to here, here to here. And you'll notice this one has a good representation of the various levels of dimensions you often put in AutoCAD. Now I'm going to continue that dimension, so I'm just going to click the Continue Dimension button there, push Enter to end it, and then go in and do this next level. It's just going to be from here to the center point. See, I'm going to put this here. There is actually a third level of dimensioning in here, which they're running from the center point of the wood there and going over to the third one, which I believe is the one that had the foundation, which is why they're dimensioning that, obviously just sort of reinforcing that these are on the dimension. I'll continue that dimension to this one again and this one. Push Enter. And then this quarter one sort of fits in here. I'm going to go ahead and move these up so that they're nice and tight. So that way if I need to move them down, I can. In fact, I'll get that in a second. I'm going to dimension this next one here. And this one's dimensioning the column to column. See, and I can fit this up in here. I'll show you what I'm going to do here in a second as soon as I continue it there to there. Because what I'll do is I'll move this up. And it's going to push that 1-4 up a lot taller, but I'm just going to select on this blue dot and move them off to the side. That way I can get this all nice and tight up there, and I'll actually be able to probably shift these dimensions down before I need to worry about it. Now the other thing you'll notice is instead of 5/8 and 5/8, they say equal and equal. So basically you're pouring this foundation, you're setting this here, and you want a center one, so you just say equal, equal, and you know, that's how you can work it out. The dimension, the number doesn't matter, so of course to change that, it's just a double click again to change the text, and I can type in equal. Actually, I believe there's even a shortcut to be doing this, so you don't have to type it all out, but really, equal is not that hard to do, so I will do that in there. And since this is the same, I could redo the dimensions, but you can copy dimensions too. So especially since it says equal, equal, there's no reason why I just can't copy them right over to there. I will put in that 1'4" on this side, and just line that up like that. Select it, click the blue dot, and put it out here to move it. Now, I'm really good about this. I can stretch these sets of dimensions right down so they're really sitting tight in there, and hope it's enough. I still might have to squish this more, but at least I've got a good base. Now there's also a string of dimensions down here for the windows and such, and I talked a little bit on the last video about why oftentimes things like the windows are dimensioned to the center of windows and doors, and that's what we're going to do. And that's basically so in case the windows or door sizes changes somewhat due to the particular manufacturers or changes in the design, you still located it correctly by doing it in the center. So that's what we were doing here, and we're just dimensioning all the center points of these. Here, that one's right in the way of that guy. I might have to move him, although we mentioned keep it the same. I think in the last video we copied it so we can keep it the same, but it's okay if it needs to move for one reason or another. Alternatively, I can, if I want to really keep my tag the same and I don't want to change it on the other level, I could just slide this over just to clean it up. There's no harm in doing that. Click, click, click. I could have used the continue dimension here, and so I might do the same thing here. I might just click this and just slide it out of the way, out of the rest of my line work, as opposed to on a sheet it sort of runs all into it, but that'll be a little clearer there. And of course we have to dimension some of the interior walls as well. I probably will run out of things to say. I'm just going to go around and try to make the best of these dimensions as I can. So if I'm a little quiet, just watch what I'm doing. I actually have a different number here. Oh, you know why? Because that dimension is to the exterior wall, not the interior wall. So if I pull that out there, I get the correct answer. So again, that's good. It's good. You just have to pay close attention to where these things are dimensioned. Not that it would necessarily be wrong to mention from the inside or the center point as other cases. Those are dimensions. They're dimensions the contractor can do. But if we're trying to match up what is on the drawing, then we need to pay attention to that, obviously, and figure out where exactly they've dimensioned to. All right, I can continue this one actually to center point here. And that's enough there. We shouldn't forget about things like wall thicknesses. So they have a little wall thickness right up over here next to the kitchen. Again, they don't have to be perfectly placed. It doesn't have to be the exact same spot that they are on, but you want to be close. I'm actually going to do the same thing. I'm going to click this and move it off to the side. Sometimes if I pull my line out, because I have this line right here and I wanted to pull my dimension marker from it, I might just add a little extension line like that just so it's clear that that number goes to that dimension line there. Different things you can do. You really just want to make it as clear as possible. You'll never get it perfect. You have to remember that drawings, you always run into things that are unanticipated. You're simplifying a drawing that's like a huge building that costs how much money down to a piece of paper. So If you don't know something, you ask. You ask the architect, you ask the contractor, you ask whoever is appropriate. But we want to try to reduce the amount that we have to do that, so we do want to be pretty good about our dimensioning. But it's also okay. We're all human. Okay, I'm sort of surprised this little island is dimensioned here, although I guess it would have to be for us to draw it correctly. But if I was actually putting together a set of drawings, what I would probably do is not put dimensions of this kitchen in such detail here, but rather do a blow up of the kitchen and provide all the things, and including what cabinets and things are there. Again, I don't know if that's going to be part of this assignment or not. Now, interestingly, we have this angle that we need to dimension, so we're going to have to look at a different dimension style here. So I'm going to go and push this little arrow, and we can see that we've got a couple different dimensions we can use, and so I'm going to use angular. I'm going to choose this, I'm going to choose this one here, and see if I can get it to go. That's actually saying 38 degrees. It should say 45. Did I not rotate it correctly? Let me check that out. I pulled it out, pushed it down. Well, maybe I made a mistake here, and let me rotate 45 degrees. Oops. Well, I rotated the wrong direction. I could have used a negative, but I can mirror it. Yeah, somehow, for some reason, I actually did make a mistake there in the kitchen, but I can correct this now. I'm just gonna change that to here, erase that. Of course, this means this all comes down to there, and this will come down to there. You can see when I do that, it sort of nicely fixes itself there, and on that side. Oops. This one I'll have to move this marker down to get the 45 degree, and these two lines will have to be redrawn with an offset here and here. Then I'll just fill it, everything up that I need to fill it, and I will match some properties here and here to get that worked out like that. So, oh, and that was just a guideline, or I rotated that one time there. I can erase. So now there we go. But anyway, the point of that was you can change to an angle. Now I'm going to set it back to linear to start doing linear dimensions again. And I've got a dimension in here from the top of the wall to the center point of the wall. In there. And I can keep this dimension going. This one's actually going to be tricky because I want the center point of this wall, so I'm actually going to have to end that dimension and at least temporarily draw a guideline that I can snap to the midpoint, and I can continue the dimension then at that point in time. And if I want to go ahead and just delete that, I can. I like to move my points up to the end of the wall. I know they're pulling them in to sort of show them the center, and maybe that's where they have their guideline. Either way is fine. Continue that dimension down to here, and continue it down to here, and then all the way to the exterior. There. Got a little, actually I'm going to use this one. I guess it didn't work. Here, here, here. Move that to there. Alright, let's see. Got that string going down. Maybe just since I'm over in the garage, I'll do some dimensioning at the garage here. You can see this string is sort of putting my numbers in all kinds of spots. I might just go up. I bet this 1/4 will fit fairly nicely, and it does. So move him up. This 1 foot is sort of way out there, and I think it's probably going to fit enough if I just slap it in there. So it'll be okay like that. I'm going to actually put mine in closer because I know I've got the viewport problem, and slide that up a little bit A little bit different than what's on the page, but not terribly different. I'm going to dimension to the structure here. Actually, to the outside of the wall, that's right. There we go. We'll measure to column to the exterior. We'll go center point of door. Like that. That's all the dimensioning. Obviously I can do the notes, the 4-inch concrete slab that says there, and the pitch note as well. I can do that. There's a wall thickness here I can put in. But anyway, I can put those notes when I do notes. So I will do those after I'm finished with dimensioning. Alright, keep coming around down here. Throwing some dimensions. Oh, I gotta put an opening in these two spots. Did not quite realize that. Let's see, are those dimensions given there? Well, if I come over here, I can draw a line from the center point, and if I offset 8'9", actually that's going to be the end of the stairs, so I don't even need that line. But so there's a wall line that's going to be right here, and then the opening is not actually measured anywhere. It looks like more than the minimum. What is it? I couldn't quite tell you. I'm gonna offset a foot up and see what that looks like. A foot up looks, I don't know, maybe down 3 more inches to make it 9. Oops, what did I do? Let me just erase it. Let me offset 9 inches. You know, with what I'm going to visually say 9 inches looks like what it's on there. Again, I won't grade on that point, but now I can trim from here to here, and I think the opening, although not mentioned, is probably identical on this side. So I'll draw a line over, and I draw a line over, match the properties to be the opening. Trim, trim. Got that opening. I need this opening to do the next set of dimensions here, because we're going basically from here, actually it's from the outside wall, from here to, come on, pull down, to here. Oh, actually we got they have the dimensions slightly differently. I don't know that I'd exactly dimension it the same way, but following the rules they've got set here, put that dimension line there. They want to go somewhere through here, and I can erase this. Don't need that line. Continue my dimension to here. Oh, I went backwards. Oops, that's fine. That's fine. I should have started on this side so I could have continued my dimension. Let's take the time to do it this way. Now I should be able to continue my dimension. And it goes all the way over to here. And then all the way over to here. Good. Alright. If we sort of get up in this space, up in here, I have a dimension here. It's of course 4.5. Move it out here. Now let's double click on it to add the TYP for typical. I gotta move it back out. Of course dimensions are generally centered, so that's why it does that. And new dimension from here. Actually, I'm gonna just, because I can snap it from there, it'll be the right dimension. But I don't want the dimension tag to go all the way through, so I'm just gonna pull it back out I actually have a different dimension number there, so I might have to check out why that is. It's okay. I'll go from here to here, and there to there. Get rid of that guideline. Move these dimensions out. There we go. Okay. So let's see. What do I have? A different number here? 3, 5.5, and it's supposed to be 3, 3. Well, you know what? It's now that if I look closer at it, it's very possible that those not in alignment. Or I know there's been issues with stairs, so it could be the stairs as well. But all I need to do is shift this or stretch it. Now stretch it back 2 1/4 inches. And at least this side's going to be right, because that's sort of irrelevant to the rest of the side. But as I go here, I might see errors, and I might have to check it against my basement, because I do know I was getting some awkward numbers around the stairs. So why don't I go over here and take a look at some of this stuff here and how they've got this dimensioned. Alright, let me start with this one. From here to here should be 17.4, which I have. So that's good. I'm going to just pull this dimension in a little bit so we can read those numbers. And then I've got a dimension from here to here. Right, yeah, I've got the same 2 1/4 inches off in this location. I'm going to draw a line straight over. Oh, interesting. I bet this is 2 1/4 inches. Well, yep, 2 1/4 inches, which means these stairs are shifted down too much by 2 1/4 inches. This wall isn't, so I just need to be very careful about stretching all of this. And I'm going to do R to don't take this wall, don't take that wall, because that wall's correct. Don't take this guy, and don't take this. And I'm just going to move it up 2.25 inches. That's now 8, 9. Now I've got some filleting and things I need to do. Just small correcting, and it's possible something up here went off that we'll check when we check our dimensions. But I need to move this guy back up into place there, not an issue. I somehow missed the edge of the door, so I'm going to have to replace this door. But that's easy because it's the same door as this one. So I can copy it right into place. Oops, and this tag also got stretched a little bit. I could have, maybe if I used move, maybe it would have been a little more possibly easier. You know, this is good to see what you do. Mistakes are not a problem. That's the great thing about AutoCAD. You just go in and you refix it, and it doesn't take all that long, and you're good to go. Well, I'm happy that my stairs are coming out a little bit better, at least. Here, so there's a dimension from here to here. It's placed, yep, down. And then, like, if you're getting that, like, it's going to this way, you just need to sort of pull down. And if I hold shift, it's going to lock it into this orientation, so I can snap it in there. Look, actually, I just can continue my dimension. Just like that. And I got a string, new string up here. So again, pull up and then hold shift and snap it down like that. Now these two dimensions are running on top of each other, so I'm just going to click on it and move it over. Oops, I moved it too low, which is why that line disappears. I'll pull that back up and pull it over, and it should be fairly clear about it. Actually, I think it was unclear about how far this island is down. It's possible that mine is down further than what they have in the drawing, but it's okay. It still works out that way. Pretty good there. And then we've got a set of dimensions in here from the center point to the center point of here at 5. That's good. To there. And if I want to keep the dimension going, another way is to do this, and then I know I've got to move it over 2 1/4 to get it centered. So I can do it mathematically just by snapping like that. Get the right dimension. And so there's those dimensions. Let's see, there's probably some exterior walls over here. Put that in. There's a 3-foot clear, of course, at the stairs. And really the clear line is from up there. So it'll come out 3 foot, so I'll double click on it, press my over arrow, and type in CL period to get the clear marker. And there is a 10-inch typical I don't put the typical in there, it's fine, I'll just leave it just like they have it at 10 inches. They have some interior wall thicknesses in some locations. Put those in as well. They do say typical in the other spot, so technically don't need that, but you know, put it in. Actually, and I see there's a line in the drawing that's here to here that I'm going to put on the same layer as the kitchen. They call it a desk, but you know, if it's built-in cabinetry, it's built-in cabinetry. So put that in, and then they have that dimensioned from here to here at 2 foot. They actually have it dimensioned from the center line of the wall, so I can do 2.25. I don't know what I typed in, but an impossible number to get that result. So let me try again. Stretch this down 2.25. There we go. Alrighty. You know, that's pretty good. Again, actually, you know what I bet I haven't dimensioned? I haven't dimensioned these windows and porches down here. Go down there. I have a wall thickness of 10 inches, or 10.5 inches down on this lower part. If we remember, we hatched this in as brick. So we got that thick wall in that location. Again, we are tight and on the bottom and top especially, so we want to keep our dimensions pretty tight here as we come across. There you go. We have a little dimension here, which, yeah, we don't have this one, and we don't need that one. Although they have a question mark, but in this location. But we really don't need it, because we really only need it in one spot. I'm only going to put it in one spot. See, they've shortened the porch on this one in the drawing too. We'll see how it goes once we get this all going. Okay, got that. And come down just below the stairs. Let's see if it fits. Now I'm going to move this up and over to the side. Here. Continue. There. Boom. Alright. And we have how far this porch comes out, which I'm going to put in as a regular dimension now. It did fit in the foundation. Will it fit in this one with the stairs and there's a few extra pieces there? I don't know. We'll have to find out. And I haven't put in Alternatively, this one, which of course is not the right number because in the previous assignment we did shrink that back portion, so I have to select here, select my dimension, to put in the little squiggle, double click on here, select all of the text and do 12 foot 0 inches to mark that out as 12 feet. Let's see, there is a dimension I'm noticing in here that I didn't put in. That's because I drew on mine, so I covered up some of it. Now again, it's the center wall to center wall, so I'm going to have to move this down 2.25 inches to get that number. It's a little messy in there. Could consider moving the text, but I think I'm okay. And let's see, I think that's most of the dimensions. Again, I might find something as we move through, but I'm going to say, there we go, that's the dimensions. Let us move on to some text. There, I'm going to put this wall thickness in here. So I lied. This was the last one. All right, good point. Good point to save. So I'm going to save this, and so in the first dimensions I'll do notes. I'm going to go to notes. So the first notes I'll do is I'll put the text in that we see first, and so I'm going to start with the room names, I believe. We notice the room names. I don't think there's anything in the instructions, but the room names look slightly bigger than our regular text, which is at 3/32. And if we remember from way back, we actually did an assignment. That's not part of this set, but we did the room names at an 1/8 inch. So I think that's what I'm going to do for room names. So I'm going to go back to my home tab. I could have stayed on annotation. I don't know. I just default to text to here. I'm going to go to multi-line text. I'm going to draw my box. And when this comes up, I can change this to 1/8 inch. There. Actually, what I'm going to have to do, I'm going to just escape out there. I should change to my text layer. Now I'll draw my multi-line text, draw a box, type in 1/8, enter, hit the underline because these room names are also underlined, and then type in what you see there, and then move this sort of centered in the room. And once I got one piece of text in nicely, I'll just copy it over, double click to edit, and this is just, all very simple text to put in the names of these things. The trick, remember, if the room name is a verb like living, then room has a space in it. If it's a noun like bed for bedroom, then it has no space. I don't know why that's the rule, but that's the rule. I'm actually going to move my text out here just to maybe make it a little more clean. Dining is a verb, so there's a space. Two-story foyer. I could continue putting a return in there if I want to, just because it is going to get in the way of this section tag, but there's only so much we can do. Oops, I meant to put that in the bathroom and call this bath. I just snapped to a point that pulled it up, so I'll have to just move it back down right into its place right there. Now this one we can see they've rotated it up, so I'm just going to use my rotate command. I did RO, but you can hit the rotate button right up here. Also work, and just rotate it 90 degrees. When I actually notice there's actually some cabinetry they're showing here. So I'm going to draw a line down. I'm drawing it on text, but I actually want to be on this cabinet layer that I've been working with, which I think is equipment there. And I'm going to offset, just like I did the upper cabinets, 12 inches to get a line, the secondary line, and match that with my upper cabinet layer, which is just a hidden layer, but do that like that to get to my butler pantry. Then I use the same text down here to type in covered porch. I can sort of nice to have that centered, but just there's plenty of room to move it over there. Move this up here. This is called deck. Whoops. Man, getting those spelling deck, it's tricky. Woo-wee. Alright, and 2-car garage. Alright, I think that's most of the room names. We see there's some other simple text. We have refrigerator, desk, and those things. For those, I'm just going to use regular text since there's no arrows or lines for them. I'll copy this up. Now this text should be at the smaller scale, so I'm going to change this back to 3/32, and I'm not going to have them be underlined. And so REF stands for refrigerator, if you didn't figure that out. Copy that in there. Shelves here. Of course, D stands for dryer, and the W here above it is washer. So, you know, there's no laundry room tag there, but I could put one in here. Well, actually, they have a little CL for closet in this room, which should be the room name text. So I'll copy this. Where does it go? Up here we can see there's actually very little room for this. They've got this all somehow squeezed in there very nicely. Put CL. I'll move it all the way in, or nearly all the way in, and I'll just adjust this note as best as I can up a little bit, try to get it as clean as I can, like that. And we have desk for here, and I can put this off to the side. Desk. Alrighty. Looks like a fireplace. I've got a note. This might be the last bit of regular text. Fireplace. There. I could probably hatch this in because it's not going to mess up, but I'll do the hatch later. Alright. You'll notice we got a couple notes on the page as well that have arrows of different kinds and different styles. And there's different ways of doing these. I'm not exactly sure how they did them, but if we start with the 4.0 concrete slab, that was probably done. I'll just do it the same way I did. Actually, I think I even have, well, I have unexcavated, but it's the same sort of symbol, right? So I might even just copy this whole symbol over from my basement and put it in here, and then I can just double click on the text to say 4-inch concrete slab on grade. And then if you didn't like the placement of your arrows, you can select a dot or move them, but it's pretty good, so I'll leave it alone there. Alright, I had back to this, I had someone come in. It probably seems like there was no gap there. I don't know what it looks like to you, but put that one in. We just copied it. There's a couple other arrows we have in the drawing, as I was saying. We have one here for the pitch, and we have one for the stairs. We see that this arrowhead is smaller for some reason, and I could change it. I'm not going to change my arrowhead size. I'm going to keep it the same. And there's a little dot at the top, which we can do. There's different ways of making a line like this. You know, there's a good way where I can make a block and make it dynamic and be really usable, and that just takes a lot. I'm not going to show that way, so I'm just going to use my leader. And to do this one, I'm actually going to click down here, and I'm going to click up to where it ends. And then I'm going to click up again, which is just the addition. And I'm going to not put any text in there, so I'm just going to click off of that, and I just have this sort of little line here that you'll never see because it's on top of the wall. And then I'm just going to copy my a piece of text, my regular text, not a room name, move it up and rotate it into place. And and when I double click to edit, it's going to be down so I can read it, which is fine. I'll do pitch slab 1/8 inch return per foot. So when you see I click over here, we can see it gets rotated back in the correct dimension, and I can put that here. Now if I want that little dot, I can use something like the donut command. So I'm going to type in donut. I'm going to click right on the endpoint, and it's going to ask me for my inside circle. For that I want it to be 0. That'll make it a little solid thing, and I'll just sort of pull it out to see a dimension of 1 inch, and I'll click that in there. I thought I put 0 in, but you know, it's okay. It's going to look pretty good there. So that's going to be that arrow, and I can actually reuse this whole guy for the stairs, because the stairs, you know, if I were to do this, I would have to start with an arrow here, come over to there, and then pull down to here. This is not going to give me that line, is it? Yeah. But I can give it to me straight. Why did it? It's interesting. I'll just... Yeah, it's not going to like that. You know what? I can explode this, which is, you know, never great to do. But I'm going to explode that arrowhead just for the stairs. It'll give me more control, and I can pull that, erase the part of the line I didn't like, and pull that line straight down. The reality is I should have this line up perfectly centered. And what this arrow is, we're going to put this little UP at the bottom, or at the side. You can see it says up, right? That means the stairs go up to the second floor, which means these go down. A lot of times you'll put the down side as well. There's not a lot of room, and we don't have all the information for it, as I've talked about, so I'm just going to ignore it. But that has a little circle too, so I'm just going to copy this guy and put this here. So I use it explode on the arrow to get it just the way I wanted. Not ideal, but you know what? I can copy it around, and it could have its uses, so it's okay. So again, to get that piece of text, I'll just copy a standard text here. I'm just going to move it off to the side, and it's up. That means you're going up the stairs, and 17R means there's 17 risers or 17 lines. Now we don't see them all because they go past this break line right here, but that's how we know how many stairs there are in this set. So put that right in there. That's probably a little close, so let me just move this back a little bit. There we go. And we have another note here which we can use the leader line for as well. Edge of floor, put a return in, floor above. There we go. The leader line looks a little different than in the drawing. That's just a standard that's set up in the dimension style, but I think we will be okay with that. I sort of, yeah, it's going to do that. I'd like the whole text to be above the line, but it's not. So let's see, that is pretty much the text that's in the drawing, but again we have to remember there is a bunch of text on page 2 that we want to put in as notes, and again I'll probably just use the leader lines for all of these, so I'll go down. So number 1 is 2x6 at 16 inches wood studs, exterior walls. You know, it's interesting, I think I mentioned this last time, this note is sort of redundant to the dimension that we have in there. And so I would only choose to put in one or the other. But right now, you know, since we have it, I'll just do it as they're instructing. And I can probably either put in my own return, or what I had to do before is click here, double click there, and when I can pull it out to some dimension, again this is going to be, the viewport is going to be very limiting on what I can do, but I can at least come to here, I know, so that should be okay. I need an interior wall note. Let's see, I got sort of a lot of room here, so I might just pull this up to right in here. 2 by 4 at 16-inch wood stud. With W slash, of course, is width. GDW gypsum wallboard. Both sides. Move family over. Again, I want to try to get my dimensions to be approximately, or my leader lines to be approximately the same size if I'm in the same location. So that's my 4-inch brick shelf. The next one is your steel pipe over here. Well, 5 edge of floor above is what we've done, so we don't need to certainly don't need to repeat that. 4 ply 2 by 6 built up wood column and wall. I'm assuming that must be this guy right here. We might actually want to put this in twice, because it sort of is a unique condition just at the garage. That's 4 ply 2 by 6 built up wood column and wall. And so I might just copy this whole thing, put that up here, and point it down to there. The bottom one, I had the room, but in this one I'll just shrink it up to be like that. That's quite alright. Ooh, see stair details for info. Not noted. It's a strange phrasing of that. Finds that obviously, I guess, would be some stair note. Need to find some room for this. Maybe I can get it in here. See. Stair details for info. That's what I'm going to put. See stair details for info and slide this in a little bit. Note for the fireplace. Masonry, fireplace, package, C, specs. Just have to shrink up the text to fit. There, okay. Painted 5-4 by tongue and groove porch decking. Okay. So that's going to be the front porch, I believe. This note is going to go out here. And I know I'm squished along the side, so I'm going to, top and bottom, so I'm going to put it along the side. Painted 4x4 tongue and groove. Oops. Tongue and groove porch decking. We're seeing shrink this down. Whoa. Don't know why. Don't know why it's doing that. I'm going to ignore it for now. And then there's another note for the back decking. One by 6 decking. Hopefully that's clear. I think it will be. I might might stretch it down just to make the 12 note read clearly. Okay, 6 by 6 post typical. Probably can fit that here. Six by 6. Oh, 6 by 6 post T by P. Will it fit? I don't think it'll fit. I don't know. Why is it giving me this? It wants to do this thing like it thinks it knows what it's doing, like in Word, but it doesn't. It's not doing what I want to do. So remove bullet point numbers. There we go. I bet that's what went on here. Let's see. What can I get it? Yeah. Cancel. Well, yeah. Oh well. It's the stacking that did it. But that's that way, and painted handrail typical. Should be able to fit that in here as well. No, I snapped to the post. I want to just make sure I clearly snap to the handrail. I'm just going to stop auto bulleting. That'll make it easier. Although this is the last note I have for this drawing, but obviously we'll be doing the second floor as well next week, right? To give you a heads up. So there's those notes. I'm going to save it. We're nearly done. We have to do the hatching, and then we have to set up the viewports. So let's see. I got on page 2 it talks about the hatch. I'm going to switch my layers. I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to go to Hatch Layer right here. We've got some decking in the back. So I'll hit my hatch. I'm going to select here. And since this is sort of the same thing, I'm going to select here as well. And the floorboards in the deck are ANS 31. They're rotated at 315 of an angle. So I'm going to change this to 315. And the scale is 44. Boom. See, the reason why I waited to hatch now is because the hatch is moving around all the numbers and things so we can more clearly read it. Not that it's entirely wrong if the hatch is over it, and there are other ways to sort of go about fixing those things. I just, knew what was going to happen and felt it was just easier to wait and hatch now, but I can keep going. Now this one, we want to, pay close attention because this one is actually rotated differently. It's rotated at 45 degrees, and the scale is 28 because these floorboards are different sizes as the notes specify, and then of course we can see what they are in the angles. But basically we do the same thing there. And there's actually floor hatch in here in this room. And we are going to have to define the boundary. So I'm just going to stay on this layer, and even though it's not a hatch, I'm going to draw a line from here to here to represent the edge of the tile that we're going to put in here, and do the same over here, here to here, and one up. And it's actually stopping at this location here. This is where the tile is stopping. So I will then go to hatch. Select in here, and we want to make sure to get inside the door because the tile's in there as well as sort of up inside these doors and all these components, just like that. And in this pattern, it's going to be ANSI 137, which looks like diamonds, but when we rotate it 45 degrees as we're supposed to, we can see it's the squares. Now I just have to change the scale to 16. Like that. And it's interesting. Oh, actually, sorry, the scale's 96. My bad. 96. There we go. The 16 was for the brick. Oops, what did I just do? Cannot evaluate hatch patterns. Let me get this started again. The settings are now the same. I'm not sure what I pressed to have exited it, but there we go. When I do it that time, it looks perfect. And so let me go and do this last part, which is the brick up in the fireplace. Again, I've drawn this a little bit differently than what they have here, but I think this was probably more correct here. So 131 up to here, and it is a scale of 0, or sorry, the angle of 0. So it goes back to an angled line in a scale of 16 to get that to look right. So that's how I'm going to do my hatching a little bit differently. We'll see when we do the elevations in a couple weeks whether I've drawn it right or if they've done some detail like that. But either way, for this assignment, we'll be fine, since we're just making some assumptions about that. So that should be all the notes. I always like to save. I always definitely like to save before a hatch and after hatch, because sometimes, at least in older versions of AutoCAD, that could really freeze the software. It's better these days, but we're okay. So now we got to do something where we're setting up a new title block, because right now I have on this title block I have my first floor, my foundation plan. I want to keep that. I don't want to get rid of that, right? Because I want to do I might print this out to a contractor 50 times, and I don't want to just have to keep changing things. So what I'm going to do is I actually create a new one of these layout tabs, which is pretty easy to do. And if I copy this one, since it's all set up and nearly ready to go, is identical to the first floor plan, it'll make sort of setting up a bit easier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click over top of this tab and say move or copy. Now the tricky thing is you do have to say create a copy, right? Otherwise it's just going to move it. And I want to say move to end. So when I say OK, what it's going to do is it's going to add another one in down here. It says 11 by 17 landscape 2, which is perfectly fine. I could rename this if I wanted to, so I could right click and hit rename and call this foundation. So as I start to add more of these over the course of the semester, it becomes easier to find. And I could then right click, rename this one to first floor. I know it's going to be a plan. I don't have to be formal about it. So now when I go to the first floor, since I copied the foundation, it is just the foundation plan. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to double click to activate the viewport, and I'm going to pan over. And since I knew I had aligned my plans, I can just pan straight over to see these. And my goal is to try to get these all in there, and I don't even know. I've got a little bit of room here, which I might need to use to stretch my viewport a little bit. That gets everything in the bottom, and I actually think I got everything in the top as well, left and right. I think I look good here. Actually, there's one more dimension up top. Oh, I got to shrink this in just a little bit. So let me go back to my model space. I remembered I definitely could get this down right on top of there, right like that. I'm going to do each level independently and just squish it as much as I possibly can. And I could probably go and squish the bottom dimensions as well to make it fit, but we'll check and see. Get this one even tighter. Right, like that. Alright, let's go to the first floor. Let's see, do I got it? Do I got it? Not quite. I'm still missing that top one. I'm going to extend this viewport all the way up. And I'm going to see. I'm really tight there, so I probably can't change it. Let's see. How can I get that guy down? I'll try. Squeeze it